Momoshiki Otsutsuki is a deceased member of the Otsutsuki clan's main family, investigating the whereabouts of Kagaya and her god tree, and then attempting to cultivate a new one out of the chakra of the 7th Hokage. In the process of being killed by Boruto Uzumaki, Momoshiki placed a Karma on him, allowing his spirit to remain intact through the mark. So how strong is Momoshiki? There is a lot of contention around this particular character. I don't mean to be critical of any particular writers, but there is a certain intellectual laziness that surrounds a lot of Momoshiki scaling. It seems that a lot of people have come under the impression that since Momoshiki seemed a lot less cool and impressive than Kagaya and Madara, he must be weaker than both of them, right? Wrong. First and foremost, we must establish some baselines and minimums to begin our discussion. To do this, we will be doing some lowball scaling on the Naruto and Sasuke that fought Momoshiki, instead of just saying they were weakened and leaving it at that, as so many people do. We will actually be quantifying it as best as possible. In this particular fight, we know that Naruto had half of his chakra torn out, and Sasuke had to transport a bunch of people with his Rinnegan. From this fact, we can deduce that Naruto is at least half power, since he recovered somewhat by the time Momoshiki fused, and was once again able to access his Biju mode. Sasuke, on the other hand, is anywhere between half to 2/3 power, since he still had chakra to transport everyone home after the fight. Furthermore, Naruto and Sasuke are somewhat equal to each other in strength. The fact that they are equal in Boruto is further supported by the fact that neither appear to be carrying the team in the Momoshiki fight, and are able to react to each other without issue. As such, this means that Naruto and Sasuke as a team here are at least the strength of a full-power Naruto, since both are at around half power and are relative to each other. This is completely discounting the fact that they are stronger as a team and are greater than the sum of their parts. But we are lowballing for the purpose of this section. Now here we see that Momoshiki is at the very least comparable to Naruto and Sasuke. As we have discussed, this means he is at bare minimum comparable to a full-power Naruto. Now this begs the question, how strong is full-power Naruto? And how does he compare to Shippuden characters? Since the war, Naruto gained another half of Kurama, and has trained for over 15 years, but no longer has access to the Yang Seal. The Yang Seal gave him access to the 6 Paths Chibaku Tensei, in conjunction with Sasuke's Yin Seal. But it is not relevant here, since it doesn't directly amplify his strength. Therefore, even if you say that Naruto's training was completely worthless and he gained nothing from it, he is still significantly stronger than himself in the war arc because of Kurama. Later, I will explain the magnitude of his training, but we are ignoring it for the purpose of this section. Now this finally brings us to Madara. Madara's great power comes from having access to the raw strength of Naruto, and the incredible versatility of Sasuke in tandem. As such, he would have been able to beat either of them in a 1v1 in the war. However, just in terms of raw strength, he is comparable to Naruto. Madara is comparable in raw strength to teenage Naruto. Momoshiki is at least comparable to a full-power adult Naruto. Therefore, Momoshiki is clearly far superior to Madara. In a hypothetical fight between Momoshiki and Madara, Madara would not be able to use his ninjutsu versatility, as Momoshiki has the most powerful absorption abilities in the series. Madara would be forced to fight with Taijutsu, for which he is unfortunately inferior to Momoshiki. There is even more evidence in this regard. Sasuke's sword could fully impale Madara, but could not even scratch unfused Momoshiki after he brings it down straight on his neck. To be fair, Madara had not yet acquired his second Rinnegan, but it should not significantly affect his durability. This is the baseline. Momoshiki is stronger than Madara. No amount of reasonable lowballing can take Momoshiki lower than this. This is where we start our conversation. Now that we have established a baseline, we can let go of this atrocious downplay and start seriously scaling adult Naruto and Sasuke. As I have mentioned before, Naruto has an extra half of Kurama and 15 years of training, but does not have the Yang Seal. Similarly, Sasuke has much greater mastery of his Rinnegan and 15 years of training, but lacks the Yin Seal. Before the Momoshiki fight, we get a glimpse of the fruits of Naruto's training in the last Naruto the movie. In it, Naruto fights Toneri, who is so powerful with the Tensegan that he could destroy the planet by hurling the moon toward it. Now that we have established Toneri's scale, I will explain why this is significant when scaling Naruto. Naruto did not even need to use his 6-path Sage mode to defeat Toneri. In fact, with only KCM2, Kyuubi Chakra Mode 2, Sage Mode, Naruto defeats Toneri with relative ease. This means that Naruto is beyond planetary in his KCM2 Sage Mode, which is astronomically higher than what he was capable of in the war. In the war, KCM2 Sage Naruto was noticeably weaker than even Gyoubi Obito. By far the weakest out of all the 6 Paths characters. Naruto at present is clearly orders of magnitude stronger than he was in the war, likely hundreds to thousands of times. This is completely consistent with the narrative. Naruto got many thousands of times stronger over the course of 4 to 5 years in the original series. It should be of no surprise that he is hundreds of times stronger after a decade. Well, you might say Naruto has not been able to train rigorously since he became Hokage, so he must have gotten weaker. This would be a good point, except for the fact that he still scales to Sasuke, which brings me to my next portion. Now for Sasuke, he has much fewer notable feats to go over. He pretty much has not gone all out since his fight with Naruto in the final valley up to this point. However, he does demonstrate a significant increase in power comparable to Naruto, as well as much greater mastery over his Rinnegan. Since the Rinnegan is the core of Sasuke's fighting style, this alone would make Sasuke a much more proficient fighter in Boruto. At this point in the story, he is by far the most experienced Rinnegan user in history, outside of Hagoromo. His experience with the Rinnegan should surpass Madara's, as Madara died very soon after awakening his. Beyond this, we see Sasuke is now able to travel between dimensions in a similar manner to Kyogai and Momoshiki. This is a big deal, since dimensional jumps are supposed to require an enormous amount of chakra and raw power. Even Kyogai, with her nearly endless reserves, was getting tired after a few jumps. Sasuke can't perform as many jumps as Kyogai, but it's not as significant since Sasuke has never been a brute force fighter. Unlike Kyogai and Naruto, Sasuke's power comes much less from raw chakra, so him being this level of raw chakra is a big deal. Again, all of these increases are internally consistent, as we know that Naruto and Sasuke are equals at this point. All of the available evidence point to a Naruto and Sasuke hundreds of times greater than their war arc selves, if not more. This should put into perspective why both of them being at half power against Momoshiki isn't that big of a deal. Furthermore, as I mentioned earlier, it should also be noted that Naruto and Sasuke are far more powerful as a team than the sum of their parts. Evidence of this can be seen throughout the series. One example would be when they were fighting Gyoubi Obito and were getting blatantly overpowered. However, when they merged their avatars, they could actually hold their ground. This means that Momoshiki is actually much stronger than either of them at full power, since the half-power Naruto and Sasuke team is greater than either of them at full power. Even if we run on the idea that Boruto Kage are the same level as War Arc Kage, it's not even relevant to this discussion. The best feat the Kage have against Momoshiki is the one shown above. Gaara puts up a sand shield, Momoshiki punches it, and then blitzes around it, and one-shots Gaara. Momoshiki sees the sand shield go up, and then decides to go around it, hardly an anti-feat. Momoshiki dispatches of all the other Kage except Naruto in a similar manner. Not a single one of the Kage could tag him once the entire fight, not to mention actually damage him, and he goes around and one-shots all of them before Naruto and Sasuke could react. This is important because Naruto as a series has always been one where significantly weaker characters can occasionally tag stronger characters. Sakura and Kakashi could tag Kyogai, Tobirama could tag Gyoubi Obito, and Temari could tag Madara. The fact that all these high Kage level fighters could not even touch him once is pretty telling of the fact that Momoshiki is not even close to that level. Not only that, Momo's Byakugan was powerful too enough to look forward in time and see a person's future and predict his destiny. Heck, his Byakugan was so powerful that even when dead, his spirit was able to stop time itself for a few minutes. As I have outlined, Momoshiki scales to some of the strongest characters in the franchise. He's most likely one of the top 3 strongest characters in the whole series. He has extremely potent absorption abilities, being able to reflect attacks with orders of magnitude more power, as well as proficient to jutsu skills. His weakness, however, is that he is extremely arrogant and tends to underestimate his opponents.